So I'm really tired. It's been off and on. It's fall, but it's hot. But then again, it has brief periods of like kind of rainy and kind of cold. In the beginning, it was real fucking rainy. I mean, rainy, cold. Not like frozen ice. Ice is technically frozen by definition. Frozen rain. I'm lucky we didn't get that. I mean, I got to turn my AC on because our house heat is all out of whack. But I got to make a comment on a comment that I heard in the IGN Rewind Theater for the Iron Man 3 trailer. Now, they mentioned that there's the possibility of the armor, which is supposed to be the Mark 47, being Mark 8. Now, I'd have to go around the internet checking copyrights and shit to see for sure. And if it's Extremis, for sure, it would be Mark 37. I have a theory about, as good as Tony Stark's life is, he still, works and perfects and labors over the Iron Man armors. And, I don't know, just wasn't satisfied for a shit ton of time. But they said that it was the sentient armor, which was an interesting piece because it could fold up into a collapsible ball and fit in the trunk of one of Tony's cars. Meanwhile, that's actually the case with the movie Mark 7. I guess, it's a best of type deal. Also adding, a bunch of silver. For the comics, the first armor was just pure silver, and Tony made the War Machine armor, but it was left to Rhodey. I really didn't. I was, just born in '88, so I really didn't catch Iron Man, and I was always a Spider-Man fan way before I became a, exclusive Iron Man fan. But the thing with that is, the sentient armor got struck by a lightning bolt and became, sentient, and it became a threat to Tony. Now, I'm not sure what armor he used to battle it. That's just his style. But, when Tony's mentioning he has nightmares, there's a scene where the armor is right over Pepper, like it could, bash her face in. That kind of seems like a nightmare to me. I guess the credence to having it be the sentient armor as well as Extremis is there was somebody on the other side of the bed. Now, there's one really interesting scene that you definitely have to watch a couple times and decode yourself. Because I don't have all the answers, I just have a couple theories. There's wreckage of the Stark mansion. Now, when you see the trailer the first few missiles, just destroy the whole front half, and immediately all the armors are just being destroyed. So his only real choice is to, get into that new suit. Now, if it were the Sentient, it would, have the ability to think and be like, oh, Tony's in trouble, so, going, just attaching itself to Tony. And also, he's experimenting with some kind of rocket-based extremist technology, not so much like the comics where he can summon it mentally and there aren't really rockets based. It'll just, go on like a glove, because actually in the trailer there's just his left hand, and that's definitely one of those, toying and tinkering and making a new armor type deal. I was definitely one for liking the new gold armor, but, I get this feeling that, I don't know, it's been an interesting structure as far as, like, Tony getting new armors. Okay, so Iron Man 1, Mark 1, Mark 2, which Rhodey gets, and in the comics, Rhodey is a replacement Iron Man for a while. The Mark 3, I guess, I can't remember, it was like, maybe not strong enough or something. And then, finally, the Mark 4 that fought the Ironmonger. They really didn't do a good job with Ezekiel Stane, because, he wasn't much like that other than a business entrepreneur. But, okay, back to the, semi-wrecked house, which isn't really the case. If it's the Sentient armor, then it's apparently coming to save Tony. But, I have this thing that it's this ultimate who am I story. Am I Tony Stark or am I Iron Man? And if I can be both, how the hell am I supposed to balance it? So you would expect a nightmare on Tony's mind to be of his, Iron Man technology going berserk. And it's gone so far as to Fear itself, that story arc in the comics, to show one cover variant being just, like, I'd say a battalion of soldiers with Iron Man armor on for the U.S. Army. And, he wanted to get, his ultimate thing was get out of the weapons game by making himself the weapon and controlling what he destroys, per se. I can say this for sure, and do anything or say anything you want. They, in the Rewind Theater, they always, rewind, pause, adjust things, and apparently Happy Hogan dies. I know from a history of films, not even just superhero films, that for sure, if you're going to make some grim film, you gotta have a grievous injury, you gotta have a death, you gotta have multiple deaths, you gotta have a serial killer, or blood and gore. Considering the movie's rated PG-13, or PG, whatever lets you do more. Oh god, I lost my trail of thought. But like I was saying, this is definitely a finale type film. I think they're only going to make 4, 5, and 6 if this one does that infamous, $1 billion mark at the box office, which I'm sure it will. I mean, with every successive Marvel film, they up the budget. Yeah, like I was saying, with, kind of a big film and then leading to a really big finish. I think that, at the end scene, we see Tony with, just random pieces of armor in a sack, somewhere in some snowy field. Now, I don't know for sure if that's the golden suit. I'm just assuming it is. It would be interesting to see him go into some kind of cave or... What the fuck? Oh. It's Pittsburgh, bitches. Stink bugs are rampant. Okay, whatever. Go into a cave. He created the first suit in a cave. And created the Iron Man legacy, as I'm sure a lot of people could call it. And then, I guess, return to source type deal. God, I watch too much Matrix. And then, he goes to Solitude, whatever. And that's when he creates the true Extremis armor. The one with the high leggings. The gold suit has already got the same faceplate, kinda. Mostly red arms, little gold, but... Or, an interesting twist would be a mostly gold version of the Extremis armor. Now, I don't know how that would fly with fans, and I think they'd be taking it too far if they took out, Tony makes the bleeding edge armor. But I do think that to compete on the level of the Mandarin, the way he's being portrayed in these films, he wasn't in the first and the second. This film, as a complete all-out terrorist, who has the whole evil mentality, all evil men believe they're doing good. And there have been, movie realizations of Bleeding Edge and, the Micro Heroes, or I even saw a figure that I didn't have enough money at the time for, which was the Mark 6, but the exact same carbon copy design as Bleeding Edge, without all the repulsor nodes. That... Excuse me. That blew me away. I could not believe it. Back to Tony and the wreckage with the Iron Man suit. I don't think it's impossible for Tony to, not just have nightmares about, a weaponized version for the U.S. military and Navy version of his suit, because it is starting. I mean, Rhodey allowed, red, white, and blue to be painted on an upgraded version of War Machine. And I'm actually wondering what they're going to officially call it. I know in the action figure line, at least one of the gold armor figures, the one I saw looked like it was more of a showpiece, just, lights and sounds or something. But, where was I again? Oh, yeah. I never saw the figure for the red, white, and blue War Machine. And, side note, I like the new War Machine design because it's actually slim. I mean, you think of War Machine as like a really bulky, like armored up Iron Man with dark colors. I'm not counting that weird War Man repaint, but they are giving a nod to the comics and using a rectangle arc light, but let's see. I'm getting tired, people. I'm sorry. It's kind of funny. I'm actually popular in Japan. Well, Japanese people like my videos too, so more J content. Let's see. Now, maybe... Oh, yeah, the gold armor is apparently called the Arc Strike. Just like Arc Reactor and, like a military strike or something. The fuck? Oh. It'd be funny if they call it like the Patriot of War or War Patriot or I'm trying to think of great amalgamations. Yeah, I can't come up with anything better than Iron Patriot. Considering the Iron Patriot really isn't piloted by Rhodey, fuck it. I guess the Marvel Studios can do whatever they want. But whether you call it the Mark 8, the Extremis armor, or the Mark 40 or Mark 47 or Mark 42, I mean, I've heard all of them. Just know that the more I watch the trailer, the more I'll be giving you updates. And there's one thing I can definitely say. They copped out on one major character to the Extremis arc that they're like going in and out of. Malin. He's a terrorist and he got the Extremis dose. So it was absolutely perfect that Tony had Extremis and the Extremis suit, but that's just the comic. My mind's on Model 39, Mark 39, from the comics. So, peace, Johnny, sleep well, or hope you have a good day. And if I seem real sarcastic, I'm so sorry.